Time to do some sketchy shit. Doo-dah, doo-dah. Hope I get away with it. Oh, the doo-dah day.
Hello, I am Dan Hollifield. Welcome to Last Man Standing. Stupid Clock was a lot of fun tonight. It always is. I had Dawn with me for a few seconds, but she seems to have blanked back out. As it is, I'm flying solo in a rocket cycle, but I'm not Flash Gordon, so we shall see what we shall see. If no one joins me, I'll kind of monologue for a little while and then run the end credits. I'm not proud. Uh, I got a lot of work to do tomorrow, so getting a little sleep tonight is kind of indicated. So it's no big deal. I am approximately 20 weeks from retirement now. Unless I missed a decimal point somewhere. So there we go. She's back. Hello, Dawn.
Hello.
I was afraid I was just going to monologue for about 15 minutes and run the end credits here.
Because you don't want to fall asleep again, because twice in a couple of days is not.
It doesn't really matter.
Would
Evidently,
everybody else jump ship between the shows?
not really. It's Donna was not feeling well tonight, so she went to bed even before stupid o'clock.
Oh.
Carl never stays up this late. He always watches on the replay tomorrow morning. John and Joe Botman sometimes will show up. John will sometimes show up. Not often. Joe Dog just, he's no longer the party animal that he once was.
None of us are.
Hmm?
None of us are.
Well, that's true too. You know, originally this show started as the Stupid O'Clock After Party, but since very few people stay after anymore, I'm wondering sometimes why I still do it. Because I would be awake in any case, but I can't sit here and watch YouTube videos and comment on them live uh, for copyright strike reasons. But you know, anybody wants to hang around and have discussions and just kind of be, I'm cool with that. Uh, Not for my loyal fan, um, all one of you. Uh,
You have more. Because
yeah,
look
I
at how
know.
I was feeling last week.
There,
Well,
there's
last
there's
week I also was doing the cons.
there's about 20 people that do watch everything regularly. I've got to say that. So, um, well, we do it all for you, and for the fun of actually being here and trading quips back and forth. Um, it's the most fun you can have outside of the green room.
Green room was pretty quiet last night again.
Well, yeah. Um, a lot of the people that tend to stir things up have been absent lately. Life does have a bad habit of getting in the way. So everybody's got their own schedule. It's not like we're getting paid to do this. We do it for fun.
Right.
So yeah,
Okay, did you just
I've got to get it
freeze?
off of the. No, no, I didn't freeze. Well, my brain did, but the computer didn't. So
Okay. Because you're super
I had the most
pixelated, and I don't
horrendous
know if it's
problem
me
with
or
my
you.
iPad tonight. Oh, well, pixelated used to be a euphemism for being intoxicated. So I'm not super pixelated, but you know, I'm getting there.
Well, and I don't know if it's me or you. Last night we had a storm come through, and it knocked out the power for like 30 seconds, and our internet's just been really weird all
Yeah,
day.
ours went out at 10:20 for about half a second.
Last night.
And the TV had to be rebooted. No, tonight.
Oh,
For no
okay.
reason. There's no storm. Somebody might have hit a power pole or a junction box on the side of the road. But Lindsay had to reboot the TV, put in the passwords and everything to get reconnected. All the clocks in the house had to be reset. Uh, I, and the one in the bedroom should have a battery backup, so I guess it's time to change the battery. If it had to be reset, then the battery backup is not backing up very well. So,
Yeah, our batteries
I had to
all
reboot
everybody's
both
batteries are.
computers. Well, I mean, you put the battery in, you don't know when it's going to expire. Like with your smoke detectors and whatnot, twice a year, change the batteries, whether they need it or not. Don't think about that with the alarm clock since you know it's plugged into the wall. But as many brownouts and power outages that we have, one would think that I would get used to that. And here's Chris having mercy on me.
Yeah.
Hey, girl, long time no see.
Hello, Dawn. Dan.
We haven't
Yep.
fun yet.
Uh, there's was just talking about the inconveniences of uh, not quite power outages, but brownouts that kill all
Yeah,
the alarm clocks in the house.
My parents had a
yeah.
brownout
I
earlier
swear,
that
when
the whole
everyone's
town basically.
The thing I hate is the clock on the stove.
yeah,
I hate that when the power goes off long
the
enough for it to start flashing again. Like, I gotta reset this
yep.
damn
And if
thing again.
your stove is anything like mine, nothing works unless the clock works.
It's
You can't
not that
use the
right.
oven. You can't use the stove top. It won't. It won't put power to any of the eyes or the heater ring in the oven unless the clock is working.
Well, mine's not quite that bad. It is a older GE model, but it's electric and it still held up pretty good despite its age.
Well,
Unfortunately, there's not a battery I can put in behind it to keep the damn clock working regardless.
this is true.
I was gonna say
Like a
none of us
like,
are battery back. Never mind. I don't know what I was going with that. Don't mind me. I think I'm half sleeping already.
I believe I know where you're going. I'm glad you stopped.
Yeah.
Uh, this is a family show. Very
Yeah,
dysfunctional family, but it,
yeah,
you
we
know,
put the fun in dysfunctional.
I was
no.
actually trying to
As
behave.
as I was saying earlier, the alarm clock in the bedroom, which I don't use for an alarm clock because I now have a cell phone. Um,
Yeah.
it's supposed to have a battery backup, but it was blinking after the power went out. So obviously, it's time to change that battery.
Yeah.
I believe it's a 9 volt, which is
Oh,
why it lasts for 3 4 years at a time. I hope we got a spare. Of course,
I say nobody has 9 volts laying around their house anymore like they used to.
yeah.
9 volts aren't as common as they once were.
Mhm. Believe it or not, they're still selling 6 volt batteries and lanterns, flashlights to
Well,
go with those six. And I remember when that was the thing my grandmother had for whenever she had to get up in the middle of the night. She had one of them great big old 6 volt lanterns. Um, seemed to weigh about 50 pounds,
mm,
and that was her flashlight.
yeah.
And the batteries lasted for several years. Um, back in the day when I was listening to very late night AM radio on a little transistor unit that I had, I wired that thing up to where a, a an old 6 volt went into power this thing that had like two double AAA batteries in it normally, and I plugged uh, not a headphone, but a little earpiece, the little one ear bud, uh, where that thing had stopped working because the wires had been stretched on the earpiece several times.
Mm,
Just went ahead and clipped it, bared the wires, and figured out which connections on the tone arm of a record player that you had to shove the wires into to make it work. I had about a 40-watt speaker system set up for a little pocket sized AM radio. that I would listen to the King Biscuit Flower Hour and other late night programming.
Hadn't heard
Uh,
that one in a while.
oh wow, yeah. I'd be laying there in bed and I'd turn that on and it'd be real quiet, and it was really neat because I got to hear all kinds of uh, different uh, uh, shows, concerts that I really would not have been exposed to in my area from the local AM radio stuff. But got to hear a complete Rick Wakeman concert. Got to hear uh, who was it? Um, well, a lot of southern rock bands. Uh, just things that I would not normally hear on my radios back before FM got big.
Yeah.
I mean, FM existed, but it was kind of you could only find it in big home console stereos. All the radios in your car were AM. Um, this was this was way back in the day, um, 1976. I mean,
Remember, my
FM
first
radio
car was
was
only 2 years older than that. So yes, my car came with an AM radio.
yeah. There was one local Athens radio station was AM. We'd listen to it. Uh, well, because nobody had FM in their cars, unless you were willed to do, and you had a FM add-on that you could wire up in there. There was one AM radio station that I'd listen to every day on the way into classes at the University of Georgia.
Yeah.
And one day, the guys came up with this fascinating concept, and it was color radio. So you're supposed to reach up underneath the dash of your car to the back of your AM radio and flip this secret switch that nobody knew was there so that you would have full color AM radio. I can't tell you how many times I drove by somebody on the side of the road with their head down and their hand up underneath the dashboard going, I know this has got to work. I can't find the switch. Can't find the switch. It was one of the best comedy routines in any AM
And
radio
Dan's thinking,
ever pulled.
sucker.
No, I'm going, I know this ain't right. Sound doesn't come in colors unless you're listening to the blues.
My mom had one of those Philco AM FM radio in her car. The one that I remember vividly from growing up. I mean, I remember one or two before it, but this was the main one I remember riding in growing up. And it had those little plastic presets.
Oh, yeah.
That you could push in, the chrome colored plastic presets.
Pull out,
You could,
push in.
yeah, you just push in. And I think there were like 5 of them, maybe.
Yep. They weren't actually set to anything. They just skipped a certain number of frequencies.
Yeah. And used to have some good music come out of that radio. I mean, that was one of them.
Oh, well, yeah.
We had some good radio stations back then. WQMT. That was when they played everything, and I mean everything. You
Chris,
hear,
you might want to tilt your camera down a little bit. I mean, you
okay.
have very expressive eyebrows, but that's all I can see.
Well, I'm slouching in my chair, so that's part of it too. But WQMT used to, I could hear Kenny Rogers, the Commodores, ZZ Top, Daryl Hall, and John Oates,
Oh yeah,
Alabama, all within the same day. This is right back before they started going into specialization.
yeah. That did wind up wiping out a lot of really good radio stations. That it wound up that the only ones that were worth listening to were the really low power FM stations and the college radio station because you never knew what they were going to play next.
Well, that's a good thing about it is because of that, I've got a fairly broad range of musical interests. I mean, I'm sort of like Donnie. I'm more rock and roll than I am country, but there are certain country artists that I like and listen to.
I have run into a few that I can tolerate very well, but
I tolerate.
well, yeah. I mean, there's only so many Dead Mother songs you can listen to.
Well, and this is the thing. There is a lot of country music that is depressing, and if you're in a bad mood and you're wanting to be, or you're in a depressed state of mind, you don't want to listen to too much of it because it will take you down a dark path you do not want to travel.
Yep.
Rock and roll is generally more fun, upbeat, promiscuous, and fun. Not that there's not a certain element of country, especially more recent country, that espouses the fun more than the realism.
Yeah.
I mean, I can
You do
appreciate the
something.
realism, but there's only so much of losing the farm, your mom dying, your wife leaving you, and all that shit that you want to listen to.
My self-driving car went away.
That's yet to happen, but it will happen one of these
It
days.
will. There will be a country music song about your self-driving truck when it just left you.
Went away.
When the AI of your self-driving truck has had enough of your shit, it's gonna leave you by the side.
Oh,
God,
one
I
of
would
my
just love for David Allen Coe to write a song about that shit.
one of my friends at the factory pointed out uh, he had lived a perfect country music situation was uh, my wife went off with my best friend and I miss him.
Well, I can't find it anymore. My dad had this concert of a comedian. They recorded one of his live shows somewhere, and I can't find it anywhere. I mean, I haven't looked in a long time, but I tried years ago and I couldn't find it
Well, which comedian?
anywhere. Guy had the name of Leroy Sapp,
Okay, I can't even
and
Google that.
he was telling this story about this guy was out in the field. His tractor broke down and couldn't get it fixed. He went to head towards the house, and his wife was running away with one of his best friends. Next thing you know, the barn caught on fire, and then all this crap just happening to him. He started breaking down and crying. He said, "Oh Lord, why have you let this happen to me? What have I done wrong?" There's an empty pause, and then all of a sudden, he hears this voice out of nowhere. It says, "Son, I don't know. There's just something about you pisses me off.
Sorry, I looked up and my
Well-
TV's rickrolling me. I'm being rickrolled right now.
The nice thing about backward masking vocals, if you listen to your average country music song, you get your wife back, you get your truck back, you get your dog back, and your kids behave.
But that one cracks me up. You know, like, damn, that's bad when the Lord tells you that. Now, there's another one that I can't tell you on here. It will have to wait for an episode of the Green Room.
To the green room. Well, you've only got another 6 days to go. 6 days on the road, and you're gonna be in the green room tonight.
I don't know what the guy looked like because it was kind of a cartoon drawing, but he reminded me of one of those comedians that used to get on Hee Haw ever so often.
Oh yeah.
And I can't think of the first name, but I want to say the last name was Price.
Ray Price?
No, I don't think it was Ray Price. Might have been William Price. I don't know. I can't remember his first name. I know it wasn't Ray Price. Because I think Ray Price actually used to sing.
He was on Hee Haw though too, wasn't he?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was. He was one of those that could sing though. This guy wasn't really known for singing. It seems like I remember him in the one that played Goober.
I know who you're talking about. Harold Lindsay?
Yeah, I think so. I seem to remember, I think him and Goober wearing straw hats one time doing a comedy skit, but I can't think of the guy's name. He was a bigger guy, kind of heavy set. He wasn't like Gaillard Sartain. He wasn't quite that big, but
Chris is gonna remember this at like 4:30 in the morning, and he's gonna sit straight up and go, and he's gonna be messaging us.
son of a God dang it! Yep, I'll probably be like that.
Yeah, that's one of those after the fact revelations where you realize what you should have said when you couldn't think of anything when somebody else smarted off to you.
But
there's a French term for that, and it translates out as a staircase remark or something like that, and basically it's as you are leaving the party, you finally think of what you should have said to the smartass that made you want to leave the party. But of course,
vu, damn it, sacre bleu!
being French and being cultured, it's one of those things where there's a term for it, and I haven't the faintest idea what it. No, but it does have that certain something I can't identify. Yes, I took French class. It does. I did take French classes in college. This one. No.
I took that from a Loverboy song, by the way. Yes, Don, I got in a Loverboy reference with a French word. The song Notorious, you got a certain kind of savoir-faire.
Savoir-faire is everywhere. And that's from Rocky and Bullwinkle.
And then you also
Well,
have
that's for my part of the universe.
Raison d'Air from Queen's Art.
Ooh,
Yeah. Reason for being, yes.
I think that was from I Don't Believe in Love off the Operation Mindcrime album. That was one of those great concept albums that was actually supposed to be a soundtrack for a movie they were making, but they ran out of money. So they had to release a soundtrack. Well, the soundtrack put him into superstardom.
And they never finished the movie.
Well, they pieced a little bit of it together in Operation Live Crime, but the album was actually Operation Mindcrime. Eerily, this mimics recent times scarily. You have this junkie from the streets that is being manipulated by this mastermind, Dr. X. Dr. X also manipulates this priest who has a TV and social media presence. The priest is corrupt. The junkie is being manipulated not only by Dr. X, but by the priest. Through the priest, by a nun that the priest has corrupted. And basically, this street urchin is lifted up to be this messiah for the masses. And all the crap that ensues, because I don't want to get into copyright stuff, but it is a fascinating and unique album. And later on in the movie that they were making, do you remember Star Trek V, The Final Frontier?
Yeah.
Well, do you remember Cybok that played Spock's
Spock's
brother?
brother. Yeah.
He was Dr. X.
Okay, I can see that.
Well, 19 years later, they decide to make a sequel to Operation Mindcrime. So they decide that Dr. X is going to be able to sing. And they're going to be a back and forth between Nikki and Dr. X. They decide Dr. X is going to be sung by Ronnie James Dio of Rainbow and Heaven and Hell fame, and of course his solo career.
Yep.
Dio is another one of those amazing artists that is short but is a vocal powerhouse.
Give him a milk crate. He looks just as tall as anybody else.
But Lord, that voice and the go.
Oh, I remember. I especially remember some of the solo stuff, and then when he was filling in for Ozzy with Black Sabbath for a little while.
Well, the thing is, he and Black Sabbath got along so well. Now, they did a song called Heaven and Hell.
Yes, I remember.
They decided to substitute that for Black Sabbath in his time with him. So they were the Heaven and Hell band, as opposed to getting all the purists that's like, there's only one Black Sabbath and it's got Ozzy singing for it. So that way it appeased the fans. And but anyway, one of the biggest treats from the original Operation Mindcrime is Nikki, the Messiah from the streets, and Mary, the nun who fall in love do this back and forth song. It's called Sweet Sister Mary. It's 11 minutes and 41 seconds, one of the longest recorded pieces of music there is, but it is so fascinating. And the gal that voiced Sister Mary was Pamela Moore. She was also from Seattle as well as Queensrÿche.
Okay.
Oh man, the back and forth between Jeff Tate and her.
Yeah, there have been several people that did that really, really well. The best example comes to mind is the lady that was singing along with Meatloaf on his first album. I can't remember her name.
That would be Ellen Foley, the original DA.
Ellen Foley. Okay.
From Night Court.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yep. Before Marky Post took over.
She's got an amazing voice. And it really...
I'll say all the amazing things she's got.
Well, we won't talk about those.
I'm talking about the whole package, head to toe. Those eyes, very expressive.
Her voice was very operatic, which fit in so well with Meatloaf's style. Very, very operatic.
Well, not only you got
for rock music
with his vocal chops, you have Jim Steinman composing a lot of the music.
Yes. That's a combination that really can't be beat.
And you can really... Jim Steinman has a certain style that you can normally pick his stuff out of different
You can
things.
recognize it. You can recognize it. Even if you don't know what it is, you hear the chord structure, you hear the way things are going, you hear that grandiose ballad that's going on with all this background detail, and you know that's Steinman.
Do you remember Bonnie Tyler's song "Total Eclipse of the Heart"?
Yep, wasn't that one of Steinman's?
Yes, it was. I will tell you another one that you wouldn't think was Steinman, but the minute you hear it, you're like, "Of course it is." Do you remember Air Supply's "Making Love Out of Nothing at All"?
Yes, I do quite well.
That's a classic Steinman piano intro.
Uh-huh. Well, and the lyric construction as well. I mean, seriously. The man had style.
Yep. And you know, originally, Meatloaf's "I Would Do Anything for Love, But I Won't Do That" was supposed to be him and Melissa Etheridge.
Whoa. I'd pay money to hear that one.
But the gal that sang on it, they liked so much, they decided to stick with it. And I don't know what her first name was, but she was referred to as Mrs. Loud.
And it was not the woman from the video. I do know that much.
Yeah. But, yeah. Can you imagine Melissa Etheridge and Meatloaf? Oh, my God. That would have been epic.
Oh, Melissa Etheridge is one of those people I can listen to all day.
Well, I became a Melissa Etheridge fan because of Katie Colley in 96 Rock.
Yeah.
You know, I knew a little bit about Melissa Etheridge because she won a Grammy, I think, for Somebody Bring Me Some Water.
Yeah.
But when I got to hear like the way I do, and some of her other stuff, like, holy crap, this gal can sing.
Oh yeah, yeah. And
Do you know she actually named one of her albums from a comment made in one of the chat rooms about her?
no, what would that be?
Well, she was becoming popular and all that, and one of the members who obviously been a fan for years told another friend that had been fans for years that, well, I guess she's not our little secret anymore, which is the name Your Little Secret for that album.
Oh Lord. I remember trying to explain somebody who had never heard her before and had just heard it on the radio, and I go, "Well, you do realize that love song was written to another woman, right?" And he goes, "Oh my God, my world is over." It's one of the most romantic songs ever, and he could not wrap his mind around the fact that it was not written to be sung to a guy. And I'm
Do
going,
you want
dude,
to
the
know
world is
something?
stranger than you can imagine. Just get over it. People have a right to be people.
Do you know what's really weird? The gal that she fell in love with was Julie Cypher. Do you know who Julie Cypher was married to?
No.
Lou Diamond Phillips. She actually wrote a song about Lou Diamond Phillips being involved with her. The song was The Boy Feels Strange.
Okay. All right.
I will tell you one of my favorite songs by her is called The Letting Go.
Okay.
It was semi-autobiographical about the time she lost her father.
Oh, yeah.
And the last song I really remember hearing from her is relatively new music, and it's been a while. The song was called I'm All Right. It Only Hurts When I Breathe.
I've lived that.
And apparently, the director of the video decided to intersperse scenes from this retiring football coach that was a legend and one of the winningest football coaches in the state of Kansas, I believe. Sorry, you got me off on music, and I've got a lot of
Hey, no.
trivia.
I'm never going to apologize for getting you off on music because we have that in common, and we can heterodyne off of each other all night long, and it is entertaining to the eventual viewers.
Yeah.
Oh, off on a tangent. You're familiar with Bonnie Raitt.
Yes.
Have you ever seen the YouTube videos of a concert that she did with BB King?
No, but I imagine that was epic.
Oh, Lord. It was astounding.
I will tell you an interesting quote from Bonnie Raitt, because she was involved, I think. Did you ever watch the movie The Slugger's Wife?
Can't say that I have, no.
I think she was involved with the guy that played the Slugger from the movie.
Mm.
Good movie. Had Rebecca De Mornay, who was the Slugger's wife, and this was after Risky Business. So, and I also had Dennis Quaid in it. No,
Yeah.
Randy Quaid in it. Excuse me, Randy Quaid.
It's easy to confuse them. They all look alike.
A little bit, but yeah, Randy's Randy's more fun. Randy is more fun. But anyway, apparently he was in the video for A Thing Called Love,
Oh yeah.
and they were an item at the time. And she just won a Grammy. She said to somebody, I said, I don't know about you, is it, but winning the Grammy sure been good for my love life.
I was so mad when she won that Grammy because I was a big Paula Abdul fan at the time.
Oh, another fine, not only singer but
Choreographer.
dance choreographer.
Yeah, no, I was like 10. Bonnie Raitt was the old lady. Paula Abdul was the fun young one. And yeah, I look back at it going, yeah, that probably did that right.
Well, wasn't Bonnie Raitt's father John like Broadway actor or something like that?
That I don't know.
I don't dip into people's
He
biographies.
was
I just
famous
listen
for
to their
being an
music.
artist in some form. I don't know if it was acting or singing or whatever. But yeah, she had a famous daddy. So, but one of my favorite Paula Abdul numbers was Opposites Attract, where she had MC Scat Cat playing opposite of her.
Do you know how
Yes.
often they play that on MTV Classic on the I Want My 80s? I wouldn't be surprised if they did play it tonight.
Do you know how often they
Do
played
that.
it on MTV?
They
back
played
when
it on
originally
MTV
aired?
back when MTV actually played music videos. I mean, it was
Yeah.
like every third song for about 6 months.
Oh, I loved it. It was
They
good.
played Cold Hearted Snake a couple weeks ago on there. I was like, okay, yeah, that video got a little racy.
Oh, she was hot. She had a hell of a body.
Oh
And
yeah.
she was cute too. I mean, she had a pleasant voice. It wasn't extraordinary, but it wasn't bad either. And like I said, she was fun.
Yeah.
Now, Rush was kind of a sappy song, but you know,
So which one?
Rush. It was
Yeah.
kind of sappy, but you know,
Keanu Reeves was in that video.
yeah, I know Keanu Reeves was in it.
One of those things that you didn't realize when I was younger, and then I was like, "What? He was in that?" I had to find it to watch it again.
Well, you know,
Are they really going to make a third Bill and Ted movie?
I hope
they already
not.
have.
They already have.
Yep.
I need
Bill
to
and
find
Ted
that.
Face the Music.
I have to find that.
The interesting thing is, from the first Bill and Ted's movie, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, there was a song on the soundtrack called Two Heads Are Better Than One. That song was performed by Double Trouble.
Oh
Double
wow.
Trouble is better known as Nelson. Matthew and Gunnar Nelson, Ricky Nelson's children.
Oh, believe me, I know about that fact. I had very few posters on my wall as a teenager, kid, whatever, and I actually had the Nelson brothers on my wall.
Well, here's an interesting thing.
And then somehow that warped into Megadeth. Okay, anyways.
Well, here's the interesting thing. My mom's cousin got concert tickets to go see Nelson and an SF&F. This was back in the early 90s. She asked me if I wanted to go. I'm like, sure, why not? I don't have anything better to do. It's actually a pretty good concert.
I'm a little jealous of that because,
Oh,
I got to see it at Lakewood.
I used to get invited in to go into concerts with some friends of mine they had a very, very good source for tickets to the Omni in Atlanta back when the Omni still existed.
Oh man, I got to see one concert there. I got to see Queensryche for their Empire tour, which was the album after Operation Mindcrime. They had Suicidal Tendencies opening up for them. And I had never seen so many women dressed up in black leather in one place at one time before that show.
see that?
Well, I got
It was a damn good concert. That's not counting the scenery.
I got to see Yes
Oh, you lucky devil.
with Donovan.
Ooh, even better.
I got to see Emerson, Lake and Palmer with
Nice.
floor seats, 7 rows from the stage.
Very nice.
What,
Is that
just
the one where you had the lightsaber?
That was the one where I had the lightsaber. Yeah, everybody else came out with their big lighters for the encore, and I go.
Keith Emerson's looking at him like, really?
No, they're going. Okay, we're going to play another couple of numbers just for the guy that could cut us to ribbons. Got to see. Who else was it? ELO in the round.
Oh, nice.
The Flying Saucer Tour. I don't remember who opened for them. I didn't know who they were. I was there with a girl that I briefly dated. She lived near Atlanta, and I lived in Athens, so it was a very long distance relationship. But we're sitting there, and people are passing the ritual herb, and it just turns out the guy next to us was my mom's boss at the bank.
Oh.
I hope he didn't carry tails home, but then again, I wouldn't be a bit surprised.
Dan, he probably didn't say anything. He's like, oh shit, that's so and so's son. If he sees me doing it, I can't say anything about him because hell, I did it too.
Well, I'm hoping that was the case.
Oh, was that during the Discovery album?
That was the Flying Saucer Tour.
Because Turn to Stone, oh God, I used to go.
Yeah. Yeah, and
I mean, I love a lot of ELO songs, but that is by and far my favorite.
when they kicked in on Roll Over Beethoven, I didn't care. I mean, I was into it right then. and they were all right there. I mean, I know we probably should have had nosebleed seats, but it was in the round, so
No, you
it
jealous.
seems like we were right there. Um, I got to see
She shot
Chuck.
us her
I
band.
got to see Chuck Berry at Six Flags.
Yeah, that was awesome. The
That
Southern
was
Star
amazing.
Amphitheater was a nice thing back in the day.
Um, in Athens, they had the I believe they still called it the Coliseum. It was their basketball stadium, basically.
Yeah.
Uh, got to see Boston and Sammy Hagar.
Oh, nice.
I got to see Sammy a couple of years ago, I think. And that was with the
Uh,
circle.
Oh, Sammy's. Damn.
it was an awesome show. It was an absolutely awesome show. I couldn't decide which band I liked most.
When we saw him, it was to the point I think he was known his career. He is literally just having fun. He is on that stage. He does not give a rat's ass. He is just having fun. And
Hmm.
as the crowd, you were just having fun with them.
Of course. Did you know that he originally released a song that didn't do that well for him? But somebody decided to do a cover of it, and it really did well for them.
Well, I'm sitting here going, okay, so he did. I'm just thinking of covers that he's done in back and forth.
Well,
I know
his
he did not
original
want to do
song that
600.
he didn't do so well with, but the artist that covered it did really well with, was "I've Done Everything for You." Rick Springfield did the cover for it,
And
and
it
it did
took off.
really well.
Okay.
Well, the funny thing is, on Instagram, Sammy was commenting on he really liked Rick's guitar and the sound from it. So Rick's guitar was kind of orange colored. He bought one and sent it to Sammy Hagar. You know, Sammy Hagar's signature color is red. He's also known as the Red Rocker.
I just got
So
rickrolled again.
he sent him the same guitar, only it was red instead of orange. And it goes back and forth between Sammy doing "I've Done Everything for You" to Rick doing "I've Done Everything for You," and Sammy going back to thanking Rick for the guitar. It's pretty damn awesome.
I mean, the one cool thing about when I saw the circle was it was because the drummer is Jason
Red
Bond.
Hot Chili Peppers.
Hmm?
Guy from Red Hot Chili Peppers.
John Bonham's son.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm thinking of the other band, Chickenfoot. That's the one I'm thinking of. It's got the drummer from the Red Hot Chili Peppers in it.
But it was because my dad has seen Zeppelin twice in concert. So I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, this is gonna be the closest that I can get to Zeppelin.
So that's what happened to you.
Jason Bonham is an awesome drummer. He sometimes tours with his Jason Bonham's Led Zeppelin project.
Led Zeppelin experience. We saw them. They were the opening band they opened for White Snake and Foreigner. We saw them.
Yeah, I went and seen that show in Atlanta.
We saw it down in St. Louis, and oh my God, it was the perfect. It was awesome. It was the weather was great. It was an outdoor concert. Everything was just. It was that night was fun.
Well, I will tell you another band from the 70s that I like that's, kind of hit their heyday and, just living off their greatest hits and all. But REO Speedwagon was one of my favorite bands growing up.
Mm-hmm.
Ted's
Kevin
mom.
Cronin has had so much plastic surgery, his face is like in a perpetual grin.
Ted's mom, when she was in high school, they were like the band that used to come and play at their high school dances because they hadn't made it big yet. They're from here. And Garrett Richrath's wife is a bartender at a bar that, as the crow flies, is less than a half a mile from here, and she hosted my birthday one year. I loved Barb. I love Barb. She's such a sweetheart. I was like, the whole thing. I was like, oh. I remember I grew up in a very small town in southern Minnesota. Shit like that doesn't happen.
Well,
So yeah, I fangirl a lot.
you got to keep in mind, I grew up in a small town in northwest Georgia. So I didn't really start going to concerts till I was in my 20s.
Same
Oh,
here.
yeah. I
My
finally started making my own money and like, I want to go see them. I'm going to go see them. I don't care if you don't like it. I'm going to go see them.
I have a feeling Dan is going to appreciate this part of it. The first concert I was to was the opening bands were Dokken, Warrant, and Slaughter, and they were opening for Alice Cooper.
Nice.
I still want to go see Alice before he retires.
But I'm like, I think I got some points with Dan on that. That's the first concert that I was like, we're going to this.
Dan, if
you don't
there
need
was
points
any
with
way
Dan.
that you weren't experiencing your sciatica, I would have took you last year to go see them.
I know.
I'm sorry that you had to experience that and had to miss out on it. But if it wasn't for that, by God, I would have took your ass if I had to come to Athens to get you.
You've seen him, haven't you, in concert, Dan?
No, never.
Alice Cooper?
Nope.
I want to drop my mouth, but I don't want a green room comment to be made.
There won't be a green room comment, not by me. There are hordes of people that I would love to have seen. I would love to have gone to see Frank Zappa. I would love to have gone to see Alice Cooper. I would love to have gone to see. One I did get to see, and I was the oldest person that wasn't on the stage in the entire show. Adam Ant and the Romantics.
What I like about you.
Exactly. This was back when MTV was a thing. That was their big song on MTV.
They played that one a lot of times on MTV Classics.
This was Adam Ant's strip tour. It started off at the Atlanta Civic Center and it ended at the Atlanta Civic Center. And I was there with some college friends of mine that were about 3-4 years younger than me. And
you got to see Adam Ant and the Romantics?
Yes.
Oh man, that would have been a damn good show.
And
would have been even better if they had Carol Monroe on stage when he did Goody Two Shoes.
We got there. We walked in. It's like, okay, you've got an audience of 4 college kids, of which I was the oldest, and 700 13-year-old girls.
Oh, he had to go off camera to laugh on you on that one.
I'm sure. And we're sitting there, and the Romantics know everything they're playing. It's all great. It's all great. Sound fantastic. They put on a marvelous performance. Adam Ant came out. The band just blew everything right out into the parking lot, but we managed to stay still. And I look around and I go, I'm the oldest person in this theater that isn't on stage, including the security. I swear. I was only 19.
So one of the weirdest musical things that we did was we had bought tickets to Ozfest, and it was in Somerset, Wisconsin, which is that year Summer Ozfest and Warped Tour were meeting up. There was actually 5+ stages of music that day.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that was fun. It was the year that like for Ozfest it was Tool and I don't even remember. I have the list of everybody. But this is why I don't remember much of Ozfest, because I was exhausted, because Somerset was about an hour and a half that way from where we live. And the night before, or I had one ticket the night before to Steve Miller, which was 45 minutes that way.
Hey.
So by the time we got home from Steve Miller, we got picked up and went up to Somerset. That whole day I was so tired. It was so hot. But man, I know on the Warped Tour side, like No Effect was there, and at least I have the whole list. But that was a weekend of music. But it's kind of weird when he goes from Steve Miller to Ozzy.
Well, the funny thing is, Dan's heard me talk about this several times, but you may or may not have heard me. There's this music festival in Chattanooga called Riverbend.
Yep.
And
I mentioned it, which is kind of weird because there's actually a Revenge Festival up in Minnesota too. Anyway,
yeah, I think there's one in Cincinnati as well. But anyway, it's on the Tennessee River at Ross's Landing. There's the main stage. It has not been good for the past few years because they let a competing music festival in Manchester, Tennessee, take over. So they moved the weekends, they shortened the days, they reduced the number of acts, they increased the prices. So it's nowhere near as good as it was. But I got to hear some wonderful music acts there over the years. And one of the acts I actually got to see that I'd grown up listening to, but I never got to see before, was the Steve Miller Band. And that was a particularly good year because I think he was on the main stage that night. Earth, Wind, and Fire was on the main stage one of the other nights. And basically it started out on a Friday in June. And it ran all the way through the following Saturday. So
wow.
you had like 9 or 10 days of music. And they would have the big name act on the main stage, which was on a barge on the Tennessee River at Ross's Landing. You had all these other smaller stages, and you get to see other acts. Well, over the years, I've gotten to see bukus of acts. I mean, I got to see people on the rise, people, at their peak, and people, maybe a little past their prime. I got to see the Temptations with one original member left. I got to see Martina McBride. And to be so small, she has an amazing booming voice.
That she's got some pipes.
And no doubt about it. I got to see, Dan will appreciate this. I got to see Firefall.
Oh, wow.
I got to see Little River Band, which I know I got to see them twice, actually. I got to see Dr. Hook. And Alan Parsons Project, which when he does actual touring, he calls it the Alan Parsons Live Project. He did such a damn good show. There were people yelling out, "Why is he not on the main stage?" That's how damn good of a show he put on.
Oh, yeah.
I got to see Warren Haynes. I got to see Government Mule featuring Warren Haynes.
Like they are here a lot. They come here around here a lot. Government Mule.
I got to see Marshall Tucker Band.
Oh,
Ooh,
I'm
that'd be
jealous.
I got to see a local band do a couple of different versions. Now, their popular band, they cover the greats, is called the Beaters. They did a Brian Adams tribute band called Reckless Adams. Amazing how close he sounded to Brian Adams, rather. And I got to see Ambrosia, minus David Pack, of course. There was this cool band. One of the most fun times I had is originally from Ireland. They moved to New York. They were called Mr. North. Here's the cool thing. There's a giant sandcastle sponsored by one of the local stations. It's kind of a beach, but I got all the sand. I got a castle. I got structures out, made outside of it. Well, this gal's in a mermaid outfit. And, she got the lower body portion with the fins and all. She get carried through the state. Well, she's digging Mr. North. So she has a guy stop so she can listen to him. Well, they notice her. The lead singer says, "Come here." And motions for him to come up. He picks her up and she's swaying and dancing to the music while they're playing and he's singing it. It's one of the most, spontaneous, surreal, how awesome is this moments. I got to see Buddy Guy. I got to see John Lee Hooker Jr.
You spent a hell of a lot more money on concert tickets than I ever did.
Dude, here's the cool thing about Riverbend. You buy a pen, you get in every day for that year, as long as you have that pen. That pen, if you buy it early, is only $30 freaking.
So what? How's that happen?
See all this shit the whole week for $30.
I'll tell you one that I regret turning down going to see. Some friends were going to drag me out in spite of the fact that I was a homebody to go see Mother's Finest.
Oh, I got to see them at Riverbend.
I didn't, because I didn't know who they were. And I go, well, no, I'm in the middle of this book. I'd really like to finish that. Y'all go ahead. And
Don,
then I find out who they are.
Yeah. Don, this is the ironic thing about Mother's Finest. They are a damn good hard rock funk band. And just about every one of them's African American black. They've got this song called Baby Love, and it has one of the most unique, unmistakable intros that you ever hear.
Uh-huh.
And this gal is getting up there in age, and she could still hit those notes. She got a powerhouse voice.
This was in the 70s, so she wasn't even getting up there in age. This is before they hit the
This
big
was in
time.
the 2000s, and she was still kicking ass.
I turned down seeing them at a nightclub in Athens. Now I have seen.
Now I'm not calling her one, but this is taking a quote from Kid Rock. I got the baddest bitch in the world. There are a few women that can sing with that woman.
Oh no, she's got pipes. I tell you, you can watch YouTube videos. Baby Love is a good one.
Watch Piece of the Rock.
Oh, there is no other.
That's baby love.
That is baby love. Yeah, you're right. Just the way that opens up, and then they
Yeah.
cut loose.
Dun, 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 dun,
The band I
dun,
regret
dun,
the most
dun.
that I was unable to see. I had one ticket to Damage Plan up at First Ave. I don't know if you know who that is.
Who?
Damage Plan.
Yes, I've heard Damage Plan.
It was the band that the two brothers from Pantera were in.
Oh, the
After
Paul
Pantera.
Brothers.
Yeah.
Vinny and
And
Dimebag
I
Darrell.
won. Yep. And I won ticket, and the day before I was supposed to go up there, the girl that was going to go up there with me, she got hit in the head with a light fixture. And this was when I still lived in Minnesota, and I didn't have a lot of friends that listened to that type of music. And the only other person that I could have asked, I didn't want to, because I knew it would be me babysitting her all night.
Oh,
And I wasn't going to go to First Ave by myself when I was like 22.
oh wow! It was going to be at First Avenue.
Yeah. Yeah, the First Ave.
That's Chris's home club.
So it's like I did not make it, and that still was. And then it was 2 months later is when Dime was shot. So it was like,
Oh, I'm so sorry.
so yeah, that was still a sore spot with me, but
Dawn, do you have Sirius XM radio?
I do not. No.
Okay, well, their hard rock, new metal channel is Octane.
Is Remy Maxwell still on there?
Who?
Remy Maxwell.
No. Primarily, I hear Shannon Guns, who is married to the lead singer of Hell Yeah. Katie Babs. She's a cool Canadian tattooed chick. And Jose Metal Ambassador Mangan. Do you know that Jose has the limo that belonged to Dimebag Darrell and Vinny?
Damn.
Yes.
Oh, Remy Maxwell's back up in Minneapolis. Okay, sorry. I was just like, I know he used to. He went from 93X to that. Okay, anyway.
But I just thought it's cool. He's talking about I actually get to ride in a limo that Vinnie Paul and Dimebag Darrell owned.
That was.
And the funny thing is, Jose calls himself Metal Ambassador. He's got a podcast where, believe it or not, Demi Lovato is a metalhead, or at least a closet one. She did a remake of Sorry Not Sorry with Slash. It's pretty damn good. He's actually got a new podcast, and she's one of his first guests on there.
I'll tell you.
I was just talking with Cookie at BKM last weekend. I'm like, thing is, when people look at me, they're gonna go, "Does this person? If you were to offer me tickets to Taylor Swift or to Iron Maiden, what tickets do you think I would take?" And Cookie looked at me. But she looked at me. She goes, "You look like a Swiftie." You know, I was.
Iron Maiden would be my guess.
Yeah.
But because you guys know me, I'm just going by looks only. But yes,
I'm going by looks only. You got tattoos.
Yes, but it is Iron Maiden, and I've seen them twice. And I've seen them again.
The cool
again.
thing about
But where I was going to kind of go with that is that I'll wear my Iron Maiden shirt, and people, they get that name 5 song. That because certain people,
well,
like, oh.
Here's my interesting take. Eddie is the most versatile mascot in all of heavy metal, with the possible exception and close second of Disturbed's little whatever the hell it is.
Okay.
You know, Disturbed's got that little
Mm-hmm.
whatever head it is that, you know, constantly morphs into different things. Those are the two most versatile mascots in heavy metal music.
One of my friends and I went out for dinner one night, and I was wearing one of my Eddie shirts, one of my Iron Maiden shirts, and she took a picture of our food, and the way I'm sitting, it looks like Eddie's trying to eat my chicken. I'm just see if I can find that. And I posted it. One of our friends goes, "If Eddie wanted your chicken, he'd eat your chicken."
Okay, quick question. What's your top 3 favorite Iron Maiden songs?
Women in Uniform. Women in Uniform. 22 East Avenue. I do like that one. The Wicker Man. It's hard for me to pick the top 3 because I like the Wicker Man.
What about 5? If I expand it to 5, would that work?
No, I guess if I had to take 3, those are the top 3 I would probably go with tonight. Would be those 3.
Okay. Number 1 is Wasted Years. Number 2 is Run to the Hills.
Everybody says Run to the Hill.
It's a great song. And
I know. It is a good song.
3, ooh, that's where the tough one comes in. I'm going to say Aces High, just to be different. It's probably between it and the Flight of Icarus.
Yeah, but Flight of Icarus, that's a good one too. But Women in Uniform, there's something about that one. That's just like my favorite song.
I will
If I
have to
just think-
listen to that one because I'm not familiar with it.
That is when Paul Diamo was with the band.
Okay.
That was pre Bruce Dickinson. So
Okay. I'll have to listen to that.
that one. Oh, but then there's If You're Gonna Die with Your Boots On. But yeah, the Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner. See, you start talking about them.
I like Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner too. I also like
I think it, Dan, you're not an Iron Maiden person, huh?
I've heard them, but you know, it's just because it's not my thing
acquired
doesn't
taste.
mean it's bad.
Oh, I know. I'm just. You just have this-
Bruce Dickinson is a hell of a storyteller. He loves history, and he's even written children's books. So he's pretty freaking awesome.
I just
No,
want to
I'm-
go fly on the plane with them for a while on Ed Force One.
Nico McBrain
He's
is an
freaking
amazing drummer.
Oh my God, he's so funny too. He is freaking hilarious. If you watch him in interviews, oh my
Mhm.
God.
No,
Oh, what the hell
the expression on my face was from remembering the bands that I got to see while I was in college, going to clubs, going to house parties and things like that.
Yeah.
Before they ever made it big, Pylon, Love Tractor, Little Tigers, didn't ever really catch REM at something, but I think I just missed them. B-52s were playing in the background somewhere at a party I went to, and I never made it into the backyard where the band was. Let's
You
see.
gotta look at my age on this though. I was supposed to meet Semisonic when I was in college and it didn't work out. But you gotta look at my age on that. Me meeting somebody in college is gonna be somebody from the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
What?
Sorry, I was just looking at a post Joe made for the various automotive makes and the.
I was looking at that one earlier too.
Oh,
There's a car.
Lord.
There's a make. There's a make on there that's not on there. And that's probably a good thing. And I'm not going to say it.
Yeah. The Proton one was funny. I don't even know if that's an actual make.
Actually, Ford though, I have a different one for that.
Well,
Yes.
the Fiat one was cracking me up. Failure in Italian automotive technology.
Fix it again, Tony.
You know,
Actually,
it's
my best
funny.
buddy in high school had a Fiat, and
But the Fiat are coming.
oh, it was a great little car up until the time he had to have some maintenance done on it, and
Yeah.
realized that the shop is going to have to pull the engine out of the car to change the spark plugs.
Well, here's the funny thing. You remember the little two-seater with the Targa tops that was designed by Bertoni?
All I can think of today, I actually checked the Suzuki that was that way. It was a little two-seater with the beat. Sorry, you're the little Suzukis.
I had a high school classmate that was a year ahead of me. His family had 5 of those things in their yards. And most of them ran. They loved those little two-seaters. It was a neat family because I'm telling you, I got to tell you that story off camera because, oh my God.
The
That
story
family
can be
was
told off camera.
Yeah, I don't want to live stream that stuff. I still think a lot of them, but my God, they lived life. I'll just leave it at that. And going back to something that you said earlier, Dawn, you mentioned Megadeth and Dave Mustaine.
Yeah.
I actually like Megadeth better than I do Metallica. Now, granted, I really like several Metallica songs, but overall, I liked Megadeth's music better.
Metallica kind of did they just shot up, and then it was kind of like Black Album, and then everything after that went.
Well,
Megadeth
there's
had
several songs by Metallica that I really like. I like Ride the Lightning, Horse Hand or Sandman, classic riff and backbeat. Interesting enough, Hero of the Day was one of my favorites by them. I think it did okay, but I don't think it was one of their biggest hits. And but Megadeth, oh my God, Symphony of Destruction.
I would say favorite album is
Fine.
not Cryptic Writings is Countdown to Extinction is my favorite album.
Crush 'Em.
Foreclosure of a Dream. Dave Ellefson has family that lives in Minnesota. And
Hangar 18. Oh my gosh, Hangar 18 was so good.
I actually played that one on Metal Mayhem too. But Foreclosure of a Dream was actually written about one of Dave Ellison's family members that, to say how close it was a combined school with where my dad went to school. But one of his family members that lived in that town, or near that town, about the farmers when they were going through all the stuff with it. So that, I don't know, but yeah, Countdown to Extinction is my favorite Megadeth album.
Yeah, it is good. Dan, You would like Hangar 18 because it is basically a story about Area 51 and a particular area, Hangar 18, where they've got aliens. And
Yeah.
the video is freaking awesome.
Mhm.
I'm familiar with the mythology, yes. Although
Then
Hangar
if you're
18,
getting sleepy and you need to end the show, we can end the show.
no, I was just going to point out Hangar 18 is supposed to be at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. But and that's up near Dawn. Um, a
Now we're
state
then.
over, a state over maybe, but uh, no, it's just I hate to go ahead and close things out. We have made an hour and a half.
Yeah, we did. Talked about a lot of music.
Well,
I think
yeah,
that's all
I
we
mean
talked about, which is fine.
that's one of the things that Chris and I do is talk about music a lot and a lot and a lot. Um, and it's very nice to have Dawn here being able to add
Yep.
in more.
Yeah. Appreciate Don's input.
Of course.
I don't know a ton on music, but what I know type of thing.
Yeah,
Well, we
well,
appreciate what you do know because it brings to the discussion and adds to the table.
yeah, really, and it introduces me to things that I've never gotten an interest in before. Might have heard of, might not, and then hey, you say it's good. I'm going to take your word for it. I might be checking stuff out.
Yep.
Um,
That's always a good thing. Expanding and broadening your horizons.
yeah.
Mhm.
Now I've got this false memory that I cannot shake. For some reason, I want to say that I went to a Styx concert, but I know I've never seen them.
Well, I can tell you, Dan, Styx closed out Riverbend one year. And the cool thing about it was, the original bass player and drummers were brothers.
Uh-huh.
Well, the drummer got cancer and he died, and the bass player kind of stepped aside from the band for a little while because, you know, memories and, just grief. And well, the cool thing about it was he joined the band that night on the stage, on the barge, on the river. And it was a hell of a show. And not only was it a hell of a show, every year at the end of Riverbend, they do fireworks.
Mm-hmm.
That was the best fireworks show they ever did. There is a pedestrian bridge called the Walnut Street Bridge where they had set up fireworks in addition to the ones that they had down on the actual river.
Mm-hmm.
The fireworks looked like a waterfall coming down from the pedestrian bridge. It was beautiful. Not to mention all the ones going up in the air. I mean, you had the ones going up in the air, and you had the waterfall cascading effect from the pedestrian bridge. It was just absolutely magnificent. I don't know if I've ever seen a fireworks show in person or on television that was better that year.
Well, like I said, I know for a fact I've never seen them, but I have this memory, and the only thing I can think of, it was on. I listened to it on like King Biscuit Flower Hour or one of those late night concert shows, but I've
Okay,
never seen them. It's just
I'll,
I've got this experience in my head, and I'm going, where the hell did that come from, or was that on this timeline?
okay.
Um,
I've got to say this before I forget it again because I was thinking of it earlier when you was talking about the King Biscuit Flower Hour and stuff like that. Used to they didn't have TV stations going on all night. The broadcast stations would end at
Yep,
some
at
point.
midnight. Yeah,
Well,
play the
sometimes they
national
stick
anthem.
around a little
That's
bit
it.
longer, but 1 or 2 o'clock was it. That they were off the air by then
Yeah,
at the absolute latest.
you had the test pattern with the beep until.
Well, they had
I mean,
High
they had
Flight on
Rick James
one,
at
and then
1:30 in the morning.
yeah. Well, here's the cool thing. WDF, the CBS affiliate in Chattanooga. I just happened to be up late watching one night one summer. We talk about the King Biscuit Flour Hour and the Midnight Special.
Midnight Special, yeah.
Oh my God, some excellent shows from that. Which
Yeah.
the Midnight Special's been showing stuff on Facebook Watch, and I think they've got a YouTube channel where they're.
Yes, they do. I started off watching the absolute first broadcast of Midnight Special on YouTube. And I go, I was awake that night. I got to see that.
Please tell me
Okay.
when you get to the episode with T-Rex, because
Oh,
Okay, look, here's the thing.
I've got
Channel 12
I've got recordings of T-Rex from Mark Boland's show on British TV.
Yeah, he's actually got a archives page on Facebook.
I'm just referring to the chick that was who knows on what when they did Midnight Special.
Well, here's the cool thing. I don't know what it was. It might just have been a concert that they aired. This was early 80s, Dan.
Yeah.
I'm staying up way past my bedtime, but it was summertime, so it wasn't as frowned upon as it would have been during school year. Kansas and Hart.
Oh, good God.
And I didn't get to see the whole thing because I turned across it probably a third of the way in. Oh my God, what a great show.
Oh.
And this was back before Ann got a little bit overweight. And even with her overweight, she was still gorgeous. But I mean, I'm talking the most nitpicky guy couldn't said she wasn't hot.
She's always been hot.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously. But the only reason that no, she was a big girl.
Mhm.
Always. She forced herself to get skinny because of the record contract.
Yes. And she had pressures from the record label.
Oh God, she was under all kinds of pressure, and it. I mean, you wouldn't know it from her performances, but she was not happy whatsoever.
She wasn't happy about that. She was happy about performing because that's what she loved to do, and she was awesome at it.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'd rather somebody be themselves, and the record companies can go screw themselves.
But here was the cool thing. Ann was actually playing piano and singing.
Okay, I didn't know she could play piano.
Here I am, adolescent, and I still remember this to this day. Because not only was she playing wonderfully, she had those awesome vocals that she.
Well, only she can deliver those.
Exactly. I mean, she is one of those few women that can just deliver every freaking time she's on stage.
Yeah. Oh, you've heard the concert for the Queen with Led Zeppelin Independence.
Mm,
The three
Kennedy Center
surviving
Orange.
members. Yes.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, Robert Plant's crying. She did such an awesome job. I mean, he's that moved emotionally.
I mean, they got so tired of Stairway to Heaven, they called it, oh no, we got to play the wedding song again. Because everybody was using it in their weddings.
Mm-hmm.
And then Hart came on and belted it. And they're just going, damn, we thought we were good.
Speaking of covers they did, I love rock and roll and Tell It Like It Is,
Mm-hmm.
but their version of Rain Over Me
Woo, yeah.
is the best damn version of that song.
I mean, Roger Daltrey would agree with you, too.
And, and I love the Who's version of it. But my God, after that version, I don't want to hear any other version.
Sorry, I'm distracted because Hot for Teacher, the video is playing, and there's so much going on in that video.
The awesome thing about that, somebody pointed out, and I didn't think about it at the time it was originally aired and recorded and released, is Alex Van Halen is doing his best to make those drums sound like a Harley Davidson motorcycle, and he's doing a damn good job of it.
And Dawn, please never watch a movie called Listomania.
Oh,
Reverse psychology. It's a cool movie. Roger Daltrey. The guy that played cousin Eddie in Tommy. I can't remember his name. He does bad, nasty, psycho dudes very well. He might have shown up in a Terry Pratchett movie. Little Nell from Rocky Horror Picture Show has a part in it. Not a very large part, but it's neat. And Rick Wakeman plays the Ubermensch. It's just it was a movie. It was a movie that came out on the strength of Tommy. And it was a very sort of niche movie, but the music is outstanding. Not sure about the plot, but the movie, the music is really, really good.
Dan, did you ever see Rick Wakeman's acceptance speech when Yes got inducted in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
I'm sure I have, because Rick Wakeman is one of my favorite musicians.
It was a lot of fun.
I've actually seen him on Top Gear. Yeah.
He is, he's quirky and eccentric, but he's also
a lot of fun.
He's also a musical genius and a lot of fun, as you like to say. Yeah, he was definitely feeling a little giddy that night, and we all benefited from it.
Credit.
Yeah, I will tell you.
With that. Yeah,
I will tell you a fun movie to check out, Dan. It's called The Spirit of 76. Here's the plot. America is in the future, and it's lost its spark, its oomph, its uniqueness. So they're trying to figure out how to regain that spark, that interest, that patriotism, all that stuff. So they want to go back to 1776 at the founding of the country. Well, they've got this time machine. So they're all set to go back, but there's a malfunction. Instead of 1976 or 1776, it winds up in 1976. Here's the kicker, Dan. It's got Olivia Diabo, which is the daughter of the lead singer of Manfred Mann's Earth Band.
I
She
didn't know
also
that,
was in
but I know
Conan the
Olivia.
Barbarian too. Beautiful gal.
She got a twin
Favorite
sister.
favorite one of yours episodes when she was on, because I thought she was gorgeous growing up.
Oh, she's beautiful. And it's got David Cassidy in it.
Oh, now you got Lindsay involved. Ah,
That movie is a lot of fun. It's screwy, but it is a lot of fun.
oh,
One of my favorite moments from MTV ever, there was an award show. I don't remember which one, if it was movies or video music awards or anyway, but David Cassidy's one of the presenters. And just out of the blue, he starts saying, "Everybody sing a song that we're singing. Come on, get happy." And the whole crowd's going wild. Half these people probably haven't even seen the damn show. But it is like one of the most awesome, surreal moments of
oh!
MTV.
I'll tell you another one, and it's true life. There was a tennis match at Wembley Stadium, and they had a rain delay, which is unusual.
Mm-hmm.
But Chris Richard was in the audience, and he just stands up and starts singing a cappella to entertain people while the game could not go on.
Oh, man. Cliff Richard's one of my favorites.
I mean, seriously, he's going through his entire repertoire, and people are singing along with him because it is England, and they know every word of every song he's ever done.
Well, he is the Elvis Presley of England.
Yes.
I remember being little, and one of my favorite songs come on the radio was "We Don't Talk Anymore."
Now, never mention the song "Evil Woman" to Lindsay because she hates that one. Cliffy
You mean
did that.
Devil Woman?
Devil Woman.
Yeah, because Evil Woman's ELO.
Yeah.
And then you add his duet with Olivia Newton-John suddenly.
Yeah. I mean, when you've got voices like that, how can you go wrong? And it may not even be your genre. It may not be your cup of tea, but then if you're open-minded, you sit back and you go, whoa, this is cool. Totally unexpected, but cool.
I totally do not understand why Xanadu is not a more beloved film and musical.
Well, I don't either. I really don't.
I mean, I know it was a little bit cheesy, but it wasn't that cheesy. And there was some awesome music in that.
Yeah. There's another one I don't understand why it was not more popular given the excellence of the soundtrack, but Rock and Roll High School with the
Yeah,
Ramones.
it was
Uh,
actually.
there
Did
was
you,
there was I mean, they had an Eno song. They had all kinds of stuff in there. It
did
wasn't
you
all Ramones.
did you ever see the sequel to it?
Yes. Oh my God.
No, I didn't know there was a sequel to Rock and Roll High School.
Yes, Corey Feldman was in it. It was cheesy, but it also had Mary Warnoff and Paul Bartel from Eating Raoul in it. And
Was it Dr. Claw?
the hilarious scene where they're in a junkyard and they're looking for like old 1950s refrigerators.
Hoping
And
that Harrison Ford is in one.
no,
Um,
no, no, no. And they're like worshiping it and doing a ritual dance around it.
Yes, somebody lady is selling it and it's in her basement. They go and they do like
And then the other hilarious scene where Mary Warnoff is the dictator principal of the high school, which they're doing their damnedest to rebel against, making them do drug tests. So what they do is when they go into the bathroom, they're hiding a container of apple juice and they pour it into cups and they're like, wait, that's not my pee. No, that's my pee. And then they start drinking it. You're like, ew. It's cheesy as hell, but it's funny.
the epitome of
I
these
know.
cheesy movies.
Actually, that was a scene in a Larry Niven novel way back. So
They may have stolen it from, I don't know, but it was
they
funny.
may have. They may have. Basically, the character is a kid, and they have this oppressive government. They're having to do all these tests, and
So it may have been honest to him.
everybody's supposed to go and pee into a cup, and the kid walks up to the nurse, who's one of the royal families of the colony,
Mhm.
and he goes, "Doesn't look too good.
I
Maybe
did
I
my
better
job.
run this through again," and drinks it, and it's just apple juice.
I did my job though. I made Don laugh. Pretty damn hard too.
Oh my God, it brings back memories.
Yeah.
It was cheesy as all get out. Now PJ Souls wasn't in it, which sucked, but you know.
Well, can't have everything.
But she was in Stripes.
Yeah.
She got the Aunt Jemima treatment.
Yeah. The spatula. The most excellent use of a spatula ever.
Yeah, well, I still want to
Ooh.
know what they did with the hand with the whisk.
Yeah,
There are
because
other
that
movies.
reaction on her face was priceless.
There are
reaction
other movies.
right now was priceless. I posted this.
Oh.
Bill Murray's ability to keep a straight face.
The man who knew too little.
Because I'm going to tell you, the thing that pissed me off about Bill Murray was it took Harold Ramis dying before he decided he was good enough to do comedies again. Because, you know, he took that spell where I only want to do serious roles and stuff like that. And unfortunately,
Yeah.
it took Harold Ramis dying before he decided, well, maybe I need to do comedy again. Don't get me wrong. I don't mind somebody going out of what they're really good at. You know, Tom Hanks, you know, a lot of people take him as a serious actor. He was hilarious in doing great in comedies.
Big. Well, he got
Not
the
just big splash volunteers.
he got his start though in Bosom Buddies. I mean, that was a
Yeah,
comedic show.
exactly. And don't get me wrong, I'm glad he ventured into serious roles, and I'm glad he got acknowledged for doing those roles. But I want to see him do some funny shit again.
Well, yeah.
Same here.
Should never shy away from what you're really good at, even if you're trying to step out of your wheelhouse. There's
Like I said,
there's always a need to return
yeah,
to your strengths.
yeah. And I'm happy that, like I said, that they had the success they did with the more serious roles that they did.
Oh yeah.
What was the one that Bill did that I think he was in Japan or something like that in the movie?
The one about when he was in India?
Or whatever. Anyway, it was
It was a very serious one, yeah.
and it was well received too.
Yeah. Well, that was the one that proved to people he actually had dramatic chops as well as comedic chops.
Yeah. But I mean,
And
come
I can't
on,
remember the name of
Ghostbusters.
it.
But I know it when I hear it, but
I'm the last person that wants to typecast people into what they're best known for.
but
if they
Meatballs, it just doesn't matter. Speech. Him playing the groundskeeper in Caddyshack.
The whole thing and
him and Chevy Chase couldn't stand each other.
Mm-hmm.
But they got along enough in that movie to get through those scenes together.
They're professional enough.
When Chevy Chase came back to Saturday Night Live, after he'd been gone for a while, Bill Murray liked to beat the crap out of him and go, hey, this ain't your show no more. And it's not like anybody had offered him a long-term contract for Chevy Chase to come back and stay. Yeah. It was just one guest shot.
Well, the thing about Chevy Chase is he's brilliant, but he's very hard to work with.
That's what I
have heard. Don't like to work with him for any extended period of time. I get that. I mean, on one level, you're part comedic genius. On the other part, you're an asshole nobody wants to work with.
Wonder why.
And if you don't balance that stuff out right,
yes,
it's going to be difficult to get work. I mean, you can get a movie deal here, but as far as anything long-term or continuous, it's rather difficult. And I'm going to be quite honest with you. As much as I loved him in Vacation and all, I don't know if he would have had as much success if it wasn't for Cousin Eddie.
This is true.
And even John Candy.
Well, yeah. There wasn't... I can't think of anything John Candy was in that he didn't improve.
Oh, The Great Outdoors is hilarious.
He is. Summer Vacation. Was it Summer Vacation or Summer Rental? He was Summer Rental.
Summer Rental is the movie you're probably thinking of.
Yeah,
where he's doing the sailing stuff.
It was what?
Where he was doing the sailing stuff.
Yeah, because he goes on vacation with his family. Got Gary Green in there.
Summer Rental. Richard Crenna was the bad guy in that one.
No, he wasn't the bad guy. No, or was he bad guy? No, never mind.
I'm not talking about John Candy. I'm talking about Richard Crenna was the bad guy.
Yeah.
The one that played Colonel Troutman in Rambo.
Yeah. I was getting Richard Crenna and the other guy, the pirate that hit. I can't think. Rip Torn.
Rip
Oh,
Torn.
Rip Torn has never got enough credit for being as good an actor as he is.
And the funny thing is, Rip Torn was also in The Beastmaster.
Yeah. Lots of other things too. I mean,
oh yeah, and Larry Sanders Show. He's very popular. Larry Sanders Show.
Considering he started off, I shouldn't say that. I really shouldn't, but it's true. He started off as a porn actor, and then went serious.
Mm-hmm.
And made a much better living being a serious actor than he did doing,
Adult
films. I really think he only did 2 or 3, and then graduated to the big leagues. And
good for him. That's hard to get rid of that stigma once you've done it.
Yeah, really, it's only people like me that ever remember it, because we were quite young at the time, and read the reviews.
You broke Dawn.
I didn't break anything. I might have bent her and twisted her a little bit, but
I was already bent and twisted before I met y'all.
welcome to the pretzel factory.
Yeah, I mean.
Well, we've gone 2 hours, folks. We've gone 2 hours. Last words.
Thank you, Don. I enjoyed it. Appreciate you staying up with us.
This was a fun evening. I was not anticipating.
Always a pleasure, Dan.
Thanks for keeping me up all night, boys. No.
You're welcome. Glad we can help with that.
Wait till you get the bill.
And go good, guys.
Wait till you get my bill.
Hey, Josh. We're about to call it a night, but appreciate you stopping by and saying hello.
Yep.
Is this the Josh I need to flip off?
I don't know.
There's only one.
No.
Okay, so if it's the wrong Josh, sorry. If it's the right Josh, he'll know.
No, sorry. On that note,
I enjoyed it. Go good, guys.
Go good, guys. Hopefully I won't go to sleep during the credits this time.
You better not, Dan.
I'm not staying up. I'm leaving as soon as the credits start rolling, so you're on your own.
Everybody else does.
Transmission overload. System will shut down. shut down. System will shut down. System will shut down.